You know, they say when content creating, you should never be or come off as a tryhard. You see, I kind of disagree with that. I figure if you're gonna do something, might as well commit to it. I mean, am I right? I mean, if anything, I don't consider myself a tryhard. I'm more of a try soft. Yeah. Wait. I could probably phrase that a little bit better. You can do this. Or whatever. As we humans are known to be, we are flawed. With some weeks being better than others, we have their ups and downs, and we all just kind of struggle to make it through the work week. Join me each week as I break down some episodes and rate and tier the characters based on how awesome or how horrible they're being to each other. And before I get any complaints, as an Office fan, you know these people can be pretty horrible to each other. So let's go ahead. We're gonna rate them from boss level all the way down to Toby. Yes, even here, Toby doesn't win. But we'll talk about him later. That being said, let's dive in. We start the episode with the iconic theme song that all of us in unison know. Funny enough, this was actually filmed by John Krasinski. You might know him better as Jim Halpert or Big Tuna. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We haven't reached that season yet. Though we're gonna break some walls when we do. What's amazing about filming it this way is the fact that it kind of keeps that homemade aesthetic that people just love. I know all about that. Isn't that right, Stanley? Talk to me, Stanley. There are people watching. During the opening scene, we're led to believe that Jim has wandered into Michael's office under the pretenses of getting some advice. And the reason that we believe that is because, well, Michael kind of says that, referring to Jim as his Padawan. That is the way. It's important to remember that this pilot episode is based off the European one, and their sense of humor is very different from what we were used to in the American office. So I'm gonna be a little lenient with how critical I am on Michael in this one. But let's be honest, most of us who are watching this YouTube video right now, you already know about Michael Scott. And this is episode 1. Imagine giving Michael Scott a bunch of cameras to play with, a bunch of shiny new things, and an audience to drop all his jokes on. Yeah. Don't blame him. I'm not going to give him a negative point for this one. Now, at a minute 127, we get this amazing screenshot. And it's almost like a timestamp of what The Office was at this moment. We see Creed in the center, probably on his way to his desk to eat something strange he has stored away. Angela to the side, a Homer Simpson doll, which I really want. I think I found it online, and I might buy it. And that mysterious lady would be Meredith. Wait a second, that's not Meredith. Nope, that is not Meredith at all. According to Dunderpedia, which is like the Wikipedia for Dunder Mifflin things, the actress's name was Luann Kelly. At the very pilot of the show, they didn't know if it was going to be a thing that existed or would have the longevity to be a show. So they ended up using a lot of their own people. In fact, I believe they might have even used their own accountants at one point to fill out the cast. And that in itself is pretty tight. Now, speaking of meeting new characters, we're introduced to the infamous, the lovely, the sometimes crybaby, but meaning well, Michael Scott. Apparently, Michael has been with Dunder Mifflin for about 12 years, with 4 of them being regional manager. And at 3 minutes, look at it. The iconic mug. Which you could still buy at Spencer's, by the way. Shortly after, at 3 minutes 15 seconds, we got our first taste of Dwight Schrute. Now what's funny is the first thing we see him do is unlock his shelf and pull a phone out. I wonder if that's because Jim is notorious for playing pranks on Dwight, so maybe that's a leftover from another trick. What did he do to his phone? While he's unlocking his shelf, you see him humming to himself, the little drummer boy. This show really seems to like that song, which admittedly is a bit of a banger, which is why I decided to make myself an Office playlist on Spotify. Boom, right there. It's pretty cool. As I go through the episodes, every song that I hear will be on there, so it's gonna be the most ultimate Office playlist. Yeah. Back onto the show though. In the next scene, Michael introduces us to Pam, the infamous receptionist. Though, if you think she's cute now, poor Pam. And during the brunt of Michael's insults, Pam tries to deliver a message that was sent by corporate. Ever being the showman, Mike grabs it and proclaims that it should be placed in the special basket for corporate letters, and that being the garbage can. Now that might come back and bite him in the jan, if you know what I mean. Shortly after, we have Michael come out to the bullpen because, of course he did. He can't avoid wanting to be part of the group. And instead of coming out, normally, he comes out with a sick "What?" Which, fun fact, was actually used originally in a Budweiser commercial. Look at all those old phones. Huh. Old tech is weird. At approximately 4 minutes and 38 seconds, we're introduced to Michael's superior and his possible foil for the upcoming season, Jan Leviston Gould. Yes, the full name. That might change later, but let's not talk about that right now. She arrives, needing to talk about a very important agenda with Michael. Michael, wanting to feel like a big shot, brings in Pam, as a note taker. That seems to be her job for most of the seasons. Which is weird. Is that what a secretary does? I don't know. I've never been one. I can only assume. However, when the meeting actually starts, Michael is suddenly left without an agenda. But where did the agenda go? Huh? Who? Michael, immediately going on the defensive, throws it onto Pam, saying that, well, Office runs on efficiency, and if you can't give me my paperwork, how am I supposed to fill out Jan's agenda? And that's when Pam just so snarkily replies, was it, put in that special filing cabinet? Man, this show. Michael immediately buckles and turns and starts working. While they're looking at their agenda, they get a phone call from a mobile salesman, Todd Packer, which we'll meet later, trust me. We have thoughts about Todd Packer. Where he is on this tier list, woo, that'll be a fun episode. Well, after all that awkwardness, seriously, she is a trooper for not firing him on the spot. She proceeds to tell Michael that the whole point behind her being there is that there might be downsizing. Ooh. Michael is displeased, but he promises to keep it. Under this regime, it will not get out. So it gets out, but not all is doom and gloom at Dunder Mifflin, for love is about to spark. No, not those two, nah, these two. Because at 7 minutes and 44 seconds, Ryan Howard makes his very, very untainted appearance. I say untainted because he doesn't stay like this. What? Jumping over to another scene at 8 minutes and 52 seconds, we see the seeds of Dwight and Jim. Starting with Dwight pushing all of Jim's items either on the floor or back over the desk, saying that it was overlapping his, using the term demarcation, which is just a fancy word for borders, and in case anyone cared. Jim retaliates. Dwight is not pleased by that. It all kind of builds up from there until Jim drops the downsizing hammer, which spooks the heck out of Dwight. At least for the moment, because in the next scene, apparently he's been pushing for downsizing since day one, saying that he brought it up during his interview. Only Dwight. Beautiful bastard. At 9 minutes and 41 seconds, eagle-eyed viewers will notice that that building is not Dunder Mifflin. But what? My reality's broken. No, in reality, it was their pilot episode. They didn't know where they were going to be held, so they ended up using a studio building, and later they ended up copying the layout and actually moving it to where we know it as of today, which you can visit if you want to. Though I probably recommend waiting maybe a year or two. Right now it's kind of crazy.